Simple Plan has had a long career in music, nominated for dozens of awards over the years, and Sebastian Lefebvre is joining us on the line, taking a break from a quick stop in Toronto, I believe, right, for Canadian Music Week. Hey, Sebastian.
Yeah, that's correct. How are you? I'm actually flying out in a couple hours, going to Toronto.
Well, I've got to ask, because I always love it when Canadian acts make it big, but even better when we can educate our American listeners and say, you know they're Canadian, right? So thanks for chatting. How does that feel?
Honestly, it feels good. It's funny. For the first, I think, 2 years, probably the first album of the band, everybody thought we were from the States anyways, and people were surprised when we told them we were from Canada and then from French Canada, and people were very surprised that we actually spoke French. So, but it's a great country. It's a great country for music, and we're extremely proud to be from Canada.
Absolutely. It's funny too because we did our spring break show for Montreal. We're in Winnipeg, but we set up shop in Montreal for about a week last spring, and it was a great time. What a great city.
Montreal is a good party city. There's a lot of variety as far as restaurants and bars go, and there's never a dull moment in Montreal.
Yeah. Now let's move over a little bit to Toronto, though, because you guys popped into town for Canadian Music Week. Thousands of artists, some legendary, some relatively unknown, some just getting started. What's that like? Is it sort of like a brotherhood, though, because you're all in the same boat, right? You're all making music. You all love what you do. Do you mentor some people? Do you just, shoot the breeze with them?
I think the fun thing about Canadian award shows or events is that for some reason, everybody acts like they already know each other. You'll come up to someone you've never met before and just go like, hey, how you doing? Love your music, blah, blah, and just start chatting about whatever, as opposed to sometimes the few times where we've attended, big award shows in the States, you're always still intimidated. But in Canada, it is a brotherhood. Everybody's friends.
Well, that's one of the things that we loved about covering the Junos, is that, the reporters, you have that little rope between you and the artist on the red carpet, but it's almost invisible to Junos. It's so accessible. The artists just love talking to fans and the media, so it's definitely something that's different between Canadians and Americans. Now, speaking of Americans, though, you're a hit worldwide. I know that you're going to be in, it's China and Japan, I guess, just in a couple days.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We went to Indonesia for the weekend, and now obviously we had to come back here to be part of CMW. And then tomorrow we're flying back to Asia, back to China, and then a small Japanese tour as well. So we're very fortunate that way. We get to play in a lot of different places around the world.
I love that. We flew to Indonesia for the weekend. It's just so casual, right? Like everybody else does it.
Well, it's crazy because we actually broke it down, and we spent more time on the plane going there and coming back than actually there. So it was kind of weird.
Tell me the best thing about touring and traveling.
Well, the best thing is definitely, getting to play almost every night, getting to meet the fans, and obviously experimenting all the different cultures around the world. After 4 or 5 years of being in the band, I had already been a lot more places than my parents have in their whole lifetime, and it's been 11 years now since our first album came out, 11 years 2 days ago. And we just haven't, it's been nonstop, and it's been good.
Now, see, just in that, what you just said brings up a whole bunch of questions for me, so I'll throw them all out there, and hopefully we can remember to get them answered. I can't even imagine, because there's some artists, one-hit wonder, done. You guys have quite, the longevity. You also mentioned the fans. I imagine fans are different overseas than they are here at your North American shows. So let's just talk about all that kind of stuff. First off, how have you guys survived this long?
Well, hopefully the songs have something to do with it, hopefully the fact that, we've managed to put out quality albums and that the fans respond to is definitely part of why we're still around, the fact that they can connect to the music and all that. But I think it's just that our general attitude towards the band, we always want to look to the future. We know that we're extremely lucky to be where we are. We know that it's rare, we're still the same 5 guys that started the band. It's still the same members, and 4 albums later, 11 years since the first one came out, I think that's rare nowadays. After 1 or 2 albums, at least one guy leaves, or maybe the band just stops. But and we know it's precious. So whenever we have issues, whenever we have things to talk about, we talk about them, we solve them, and we move on. We don't hold grudges, and we just carry on with the band. And we wouldn't want to disappoint, all the fans around the world. So.
Mm-hmm. There's so much more to talk about. We've got to get back to the music. We're going to have more with Sebastian from Simple Plan right after this. Talking with Sebastian from Simple Plan. Now, the group has been together, as you were saying in the last segment, 11 years. I want to ask, and you don't have to give specifics or names, but have you ever gone through a moment where somebody was wanting to leave and you guys had to, talk them back? How do you deal with something like that?
Well, except from, even before the band even made it, you know, when we used to practice and rehearse, you know, in our basements before we made the first album. I think Jeff would quit every week.
Oh, okay.
We always managed to bring him back in, but no, I think if you put it back in perspective, we never came close to have someone leaving. You know, whenever we were going through a hard time as a band, you know, if you know, not as many people were coming to the shows for a few months because this one song wasn't as big of a hit on the radio or whatever, like, when we put it back into perspective, like, it's always been, like, the very end of touring cycles when everybody was really tired. So, you know, like, when you're tired, like, things get blown out of proportion. So all we really needed to do was take a little, you know, maybe a few weeks break, maybe a few months, and then get back on the road, and we were excited to play again.
So what is the, you know, earlier I asked you what the best thing is about traveling and touring. What's the worst then on the flip side? Is it just the exhaustion? Like, what's a bad thing about it?
Honestly, that's probably it. You know, we don't really like to complain about it because there's probably like a million bands that would love to be in our position. Mm-hmm. But, you know, obviously jet lag a lot, and, you know, as you get a little bit older, it gets a little bit more important to spend time with your family, you know, your kids, for the band members that have kids, and your loved ones, and all that. So obviously, when you're on tour, you know, 10 months out of 12 in a year, you don't get to see the people you love as much as you want, but, you know, the fans make up for it, I guess.
Well, let's talk about those fans again. So I touched on that before. Are the fans different? I know that they get pretty rowdy here in North America, but over in, let's say, Japan, China, how do they react and respond to your music?
Well, it's very different, actually. The description you just named, you know, China is not very used to having shows. You know, it's only been a few years since bands started going there. The Chinese fans are very intense at the show, but I think as a culture in general, they're not used to showing emotions. So, you know, they go crazy during the songs, and then they sort of chill, and they don't really know what to do, but they're still a good crowd. Japan, they go absolutely nuts, and it's crazy because in between the songs, they're actually there for the full experience of the show. So they're going to completely shut up between the songs to hear what you have to say. And you always know if there's somebody not from Japan at the show because they're just going to keep on screaming between the songs, and you know, oh, that person's not from here, you know.
Tell us about the Simple Plan Foundation.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. That's why we're going to CMW. We presented with the Alan Smith Award, and that's quite the honor for the foundation and for the band. It's something that we started in 2005, and we just, you know, felt fortunate, and we were reading a lot of letters and from the fans, and they would come in after the show and telling us, you know, your music has really helped us, has really helped me, you know, get through tough times. I'm closer to my parents now, you know, and sometimes they even say I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your music, or just music in general, you know, different bands. I think music is just very strong. So we just wanted to take the extra step and actually try to raise money to donate it to different organizations that are hands-on with, like, younger people's issues, you know, whether it's sickness, illnesses, or, like, social problems with drugs and depression, or promoting music, you know, as a way to stay out of trouble and find a passion in life. And honestly, it's made us, you know, experience a lot of very, very intense situations with the fans and with some people that we've met, and the foundation just does a lot of good. And last year we've reached the milestone of donating a total of $1 million since the foundation started. So very big for us, and we just want to keep going.
Well, that is. I mean, you know, that's huge because a lot of artists or groups will back a cause, right? Whereas, you know, you guys started this initiative, so it's great. So how can people get involved then?
Well, there's simpleplanfoundation.com. You know, that's the easiest way to get involved. And, you know, just by coming to a show, you know, we donate, for every ticket we donate $1 to the foundation. And, you know, just like, there's some kids that even went as far as organizing concerts at their school, and the money they get, they give it back to the foundation. And that's crazy, you know, that people understand that you don't have to wait until you're old to be able to make a difference and to try to give back to society. And it's, we're very proud of a lot of fans that are actually getting involved at a young age.
So your website, simpleplan.com, right?
Yes, simpleplan.com. Our Twitters are on there. We're very active on it. There's a Facebook you can like. There's a lot of stuff online about Simple Plan.
All right. And I always, every time we say Simple Plan, I just, in my head, I hear screaming from fans. I don't know what it is. But well, we do thank you for joining. You
know, every time you say our names, there's probably someone screaming it somewhere in the world.
It's like when you guys go to a show, right? Hey, Montreal! And then everybody goes nuts.
Exactly. Except when we're in Winnipeg, then we can't say Montreal on stage. We'll get beat up.
That's true. You don't want to get the city wrong. Have you ever done that? Have you ever said the wrong city or place?
It actually happened once Pierre a long time ago. I think he said, "What's up, Seattle?" and we were in Portland, Oregon, in the States. But nobody really heard it. We just all looked at him weird, and then he just corrected himself immediately.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, you know what? We do have to go. I do thank you for joining us, and congrats on all your success and everything you guys have accomplished.
Thank you very much, and can't wait to be back in Winnipeg.
Sounds good. We'll see you there. Sebastian from Simple Plan joining us on the phone. Let's get back to the music.
Today's best music with Jeremy Bradley.